Hey guys, what's up? And today I'm gonna speak in an Australian accent, 'cause I'm doing a review on King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard album Flying Microtonal Banana. Alright, this is a little bit difficult for me, so I'm gonna stop doing this Australian accent. Well, anyway, if you don't know who King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard is, they are basically a psychedelic progressive rock band formed in Australia who is really well known for their super intense, odd, and quirky and insane songs and albums. And they released a lot of albums throughout the years, and I love a lot of their albums from the past, such as I loved Nonagon Infinity opens the door, and I also kind of like I'm in Your Mind Fuzz, and my favorite King Gizzard song so far right now is The River, which is a really laid back, relaxing song, which is 10 minutes long, and it is in 5/4 time signature, and it's really entertaining and lovely. So now they released Flying Microtonal Banana on the year 2017, and they are releasing 5 studio albums in this year. Like, Brockhampton released 3 albums, but this band, they release 5 albums. Flying Microtonal Banana, Murder of the Mystery, collaborating with Mild High Club, Sketches of East Brunswick, and then they also have the really recently Polygon Dwanaland, and then another, which I don't really know what's the title of, but yeah, they are going insane on producing music, producing huge amounts of music, and out of all 4 of their albums so far, I have to release my favorite out of all 4, and it is Flying Microtonal Banana. So this time on this album, they are working on microtonal tuning, and they are playing microtonal instruments. They are experimenting with these microtonal sounds, so basically, instead of going like on a full I studied music theory a long time ago, but anyway, it's like a little bit higher or lower, so when you listen to their music, it sounds a little bit off because it's a little bit flat or it's a little bit sharp. And I think that music has a certain style to it that makes it feel a little bit more natural, a little bit more organic and Middle Eastern tinged. That's why microtonal instruments is pretty interesting and new to many people right now. But however, I don't think experimenting with microtonal instruments and microtonal tuning will make this album that crazy or that different from the band's past work. But nonetheless, it's a freaking great album. First of all, the album starts off with Rattlesnake, which is a really intense and groovy song. It's almost 7 minutes long, with this really driving and intense drum beat. And these guitars going here and there, everywhere, and I also really like the keyboards. That sounds really sour, jerky, and catchy and snappy, and it's really entertaining. Rattlesnake, rattlesnake, rattlesnake. And then it moves on to Melting, which is also very fast-paced and quick and snappy, and I really like this really spicy, kind of Asian-tinged keyboards on this thing, and the chorus is incredibly catchy. Melting, 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 do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. And I really like the Doors influence on this song. It sounds like Ray Manzarek is playing the keyboards on this thing, but in fact it's more like a cover of a Doors song. And it's executed and produced really well. And then, nope, the album is not tired yet. It keeps on throwing you all these fast-paced and intense and really catchy and entertaining songs, including the next one, Open Water, which is a more Middle Eastern vibe song with this very insane vocals and drums that just goes whack. And again, I really love the snappy drums on this thing. Open water. And then there is a more slower song, I guess, which is a Billabong Valley, which is kind of separated into two parts. The first half is really, really catchy and danceable, and then the second half kind of slows down, and it sounds like you're beginning to fall asleep and enter this multi-dimensional dream that you're going far, far away into this world of microtonal things, I guess. It's really hard to describe the feeling you get on Billabong Valley, but basically, Billabong Valley has this Middle Eastern feel to it, but at the same time it also has this desert, old country, Wild West, Australian piano sound to it, which actually kind of makes sense because this band is from Australia. And the vocals on this thing is very clear and girly, which isn't necessarily bad. The girly vocals kind of makes this song more odd and special and more ear-catching, I guess. And then we have a more slower song, which is Sleep Drifter. It's really sleepy and hypnotic, and I kind of like the guitars going a little bit more milky and soothing on this thing. Yeah, it's okay. And then I'm gonna talk about a couple of songs that's more underwhelming on this album. Anoxia is another slow and microtonal. Of course, this album is microtonal, but Anoxia is this really slow and ruminative song. I guess it's okay. The chords progression is actually kind of good, but it's a little bit formulaic and it's really just a bit underwhelming. But again, it's actually decent and I won't mind listening to it again. And Doom City is again a little bit forgettable and a little bit underwhelming. It's not that exciting of a song compared to other crazy bangers on this album. And yeah. And the ending of the album is actually kind of good. King Gizzard is not known for their crazy and memorable endings, so usually their albums just kind of fizz out and fuse out and end in a really quiet and whispery fashion. So the ending is basically the title track, Flying Microtonal Banana, and it is basically this 3-minute long instrumental where you hear them playing microtonal instruments in the most tribal and most aboriginal way ever. It just feels so native. My favorite track on this album is Nuclear Fusion, which is one of the more surprisingly good releases of this year. It is a freaking great single, and it's actually one of the most amazing sounding psychedelic rock songs of the year. And I really love the guitars on this thing, and the introduction of the song is really fantastic. The vocals is really fun, and it's distorted. It's like nuclear, and the guitars is really catchy, and the keyboards, the vocals, they go really well, and the song goes over this 4/4 beat really cohesively and groovily that this song is one of the most danceable songs of King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard so far. I really like the pulpy and thick instrumentals on this song, and I also really enjoy the blinking kind of embellishments with the keyboards, and the hypnotic and groovy guitars makes the song really sexy in a way that the song is really sensual also. And this song is the most tribal and aboriginal a song can ever get. It sounds like the kind of song the native Australian people play when you join their tribe. It's like the welcome dance song, and that's basically the feeling I get while listening to this song. It's just like me walking into this wild native Australian place where I join their tribe and they're all dancing around in a circle with this song. And it's really raw and original and aboriginal also, and I love it. So overall, this is a really good album that surprises me a lot. There's a lot of highlights on this album that just makes my ears so satisfied. And however, I think they can push this experiment a little bit further and make this album a little bit more special. But other than that, there's not much complaints about this album. Oh, also on a side note, if you want me to rank all four of their releases so far, I'm gonna rank them. The worst so far is Sketches of Brunswick, of East Brunswick, which is a really experimental, jazzy, and laid back album that doesn't really go anywhere. And then the third place would be Murder of the Universe, which actually has some really good instrumentals and music on that thing, but the spoken word passages, it just doesn't shut up, and it just, goes on and on and on and on. And that album is like 20 something tracks long, and all the songs are either 1 minute long or 2 minutes long, and it's a little bit choppy and spotty. Number two would be Polygon Dwanaland, which is really psychedelic and trippy, and I mean, there's some good material on that album, but there's a couple of more lackluster moments on that album too. And my favorite is, of course, Flying Microtonal Banana. The worst is Doom City, in my opinion, and the best is Nuclear Fusion. I'm giving King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard's new album, Flying Microtonal Banana, a 9 to an 8 out of 10. So, have you listened to King Gizzard's new albums? From 1 to 10, how much would you rate them? Like if you like it, hate if you hate it, and subscribe if you want more.